Hello, welcome back to another video. Before I get started, I just want to mention a couple things. So first of all, look at these numbers. They're very good. 98 subscribers in my main channel in the last 100 days, similar with my alternate channel, which you might be seeing this on right now. Watch time up, views huge for me. Again, this is very good for me, so I just wanted to call attention to it because my main channel is really close to 1,000 subscribers, so I'd really like to hit it soon. And I have a special waiting for when I do that. It's probably going to be midterm predictions. I don't know. I'm going to do something slightly special. I might kick off one of the series that I'm planning on making. But yeah, I just wanted to mention. And for so far, despite these massive increases in numbers, still less than 10% of you are subscribed. So if you want to stay on this channel, which in a second when the video starts, you'll hear me talk about my past credibility with predictions and stuff. And so I just want to thank everyone for watching and consider subscribing. So thanks. Have a good day. Hello, today's November 14th, 2024. Today I'm going to be going over my 2028 presidential election predictions. Obviously, I have a lot to say first. If you're new to this channel, 2020, I got all 50 states right. 2021, I got all the governor states right. In 2022, I got pretty much every single governor and Senate seat right, and said Republicans would flip the House. 2023, also got all governor seats right. 2024, all but one Senate seat right. All governor seats right. House is probably Republicans right now, as looks has been called, so that was wrong. And the presidential race was wrong. So I'm obviously trying to continue to prove myself here that still historically, if you go off all this accuracy, I'm still better than pretty much any YouTuber, anyone clicking on this has watched at all. So yeah, I'm gonna continue to try and prove myself here, and obviously I have a lot to say about the results, and I've made kind of a little video, but other than that, I haven't made anything. And a lot of that is because of schoolwork and also deciding what I'm going to do next. So one thing I'm going to do next is, obviously I said in the last video, I plan on doing a redistricting series where I just redistrict all the states. I think that'd be kind of fun to put those together and just kind of talk about the shifts of the state over time and all that. I don't really know. It'd be kind of more of like a fun thing to live stream, but I don't have enough people in this channel yet. On my main channel, I'm really close to 1,000 subscribers, so hopefully this video can get it to that. So that'd be cool. And so yeah, I'm just gonna get straight into it for 2024. Obviously, this is gonna be probably a little bit longer than most of my usual prediction videos because I kind of have to bring up most of the results. Washington is a safe Democrat state still. Something I find interesting about that is it was one of the only states that barely shifted at all towards any direction. It shifted maybe like 1 point towards the Republicans, but obviously most of the states shifted like 5 or 6 points to the Republicans. So I found that pretty interesting. And go Washington, I guess, if you're a Democrat. I mean, that's pretty cool. Utah and Kansas kind of did a similar thing, but I'm going to get to those soon. Oregon also didn't shift too much. Again, it's kind of in line with Washington. It's not that different of a state either, and it's pretty safe blue. It voted I think 14 points for Harris, something like that, around that, and so that kind of has to get an idea on how this next election is going to be. If there's another election, because as of right now, they've talked about how they're not going to have elections and they don't need to vote. So there's a whole other video for that I'm going to make. I'm going to make a lot of like update videos with the Trump administration, and I actually have a lot to talk about already with some of his picks, so I find that pretty interesting. And I probably will make a video about that soon. And yeah, I'm back to making videos like a couple times a week. I know I just took like a week off, but obviously I'm kind of I was waiting for a lot of the results to come in, and now they're pretty much mostly in. But yeah, Oregon continues to be a safe state. California continues to be a safe state. Obviously, Republicans have made inroads in like these big city areas, and are losing more support in the suburban areas. You're going to find that like in Philadelphia, Republicans have improved like over and over and over, even from 2016 to 2020 in Philadelphia. But all the places around it, Chester, even Dauphin up here, and Delaware County, which is right here next to Philadelphia, they've been shifting towards the Democrats, which is the opposite. That Pennsylvania has been shifting. Same with, Oakland? I think Oakland, as opposed to Detroit, which has been shifting red. So yeah, you find that pretty interesting that a lot of these suburban areas are trending. At Georgia, these suburban areas, almost every county in Georgia shifted like 10 points to the Republicans, except for the areas around Atlanta. except for the counties around Atlanta. Like this big circle right here, I think that's extremely, extremely good for the Democrats. That they kind of held Georgia to less than a 3-point shift, and that makes me a lot more confident that with the trend in Georgia, the Democrats will probably definitely carry Georgia in 2028 as long as there's no absolute disaster for them. The reason I say this is because I think Trump's policies, as of right now, we have not seen what he's going to do, but we know what he's promised, and that is mass deportation. Don't think that's a good idea for the economy. I could go on several reasons why. One, that means that the slight increase of jobs that you're going to have are going to cost companies so much more that they're going to have to raise prices or lower the wages of their other workers that they have. And I don't think they're going to do that because of unions, but Republicans, even Trump himself, has laughed and talked about wanting to get rid of union protections. So that's something they could do, and I think that would hurt them even more. So immigration, mass deportation, not a good idea for the economy. Maybe in general, I mean, obviously it's something that most Americans support is deportation, but we're going to see the effects of that rather quickly compared to the tariffs, which I can't imagine we'll see for around like a year or so. At least like 6 months or something, we won't see really bad effects of the tariffs. So they're going to tell you it's going to be working for the first couple months, and then it's going to get really bad, and they're going to blame Biden, all that, whatever. Tariffs, really, really bad idea. And something I thought was pretty funny but also depressing is that searches for what is a tariff went up over 700% after Election Day. Can you imagine if those people just Googled what is a tariff right before Election Day? Everything would have been different. And a lot of uneducated voters. Again, searches for can I change my vote and I regret voting for Trump have also gone up over 700% each. So I think it's kind of interesting to see people already regretting their decisions. But a lot of it is people being like, yeah, you guys just voted for this. And they're like, what? Really? I did? And it's a lot of independents. You saw how the independents flipped from 2020 to 2024. But yeah, Illinois, despite the huge, massive shift towards towards Republicans, making it like a single-digit state here, I think Illinois is going to go, we'll give it likely. Definitely, obviously, that shift happens again. It could be a swing state again. But I'm kind of banking on the idea that Cook County continues to carry the state. Sorry if my chair is kind of creaky. I'm bad about that. But yeah, Illinois is kind of Cook County is kind of carrying Illinois. It's like as long as Cook County doesn't make huge, massive shifts towards Republicans, which it hasn't really, then Illinois is not really in danger. It was more so a lot of so something I found interesting. Turnout, at least in Georgia. Georgia's the only state to release this, and this was today. Georgia showed that by demographics, black turnout was the lowest out of all the demographics. This is where Democrats are hurting. If they can get black turnout to start happening again, then they should be just fine. And obviously, Harris did improve a little bit with white voters. I think mostly just with white women, which was what was huge for the suburbs. The only increases that she had for Democrats anywhere. So that's kind of the thing. Democrats kind of want to get their gain back with urban voters, but they obviously want to keep their increase on suburban voters. So I don't think they really care about any of the other areas. So we'll see. So there's a couple other interesting things. Obviously, New Jersey, a big no scare for the Democratic Party. It took them till like 11 a.m. to call the state, and Harris so far is still only up by less than 6%. Obviously, they called it already. She won the state, and I wouldn't be too worried if I was a Democrat. The senator won here by a lot, and that was called a lot earlier. He won by over double digits. Again, I think it was just massive lack of turnout for Democrats, which the reason obviously you saw me get wrong this election is because I thought turnout would be high. Turnout was supposed to be higher for Democrats. Obviously, I was right about turnout being high. It was pretty high, lower than 2020, like I said, and that's another interesting thing where Trump had more voters than 2020, but Harris had like 10 million less. As of right now, obviously not all the votes have been counted. She'll probably only have a couple million less. I'd say probably like 4 or 5 million left, maybe 6 million less. But she said around 74 million votes as of right now, as of the time of recording this. So we'll see. The reason I'm telling Democrats not to worry about New Jersey is if you saw the shift it made from 2008 to 2012 and then 2016, you think, oh shit, New Jersey might go red in the next couple of elections, and then you'll see it revert right back to where it was in 2020. It was really just the red. It was just the red shifts. If the country shifts red, New Jersey's going to shift red. If the country shifts blue, New Jersey's going to shift blue. Democrats have the demographics to carry New Jersey for the next 10 to 20 years. I wouldn't be too worried about New Jersey, at least for the next 2 elections. Now, after that, we're going to have to start changing some things. Delaware, obviously, honestly, I meant Delaware kind of stayed around safe. Most of the election cycle, I had Delaware going likely, and then I changed it to safe. Because, 15 points is safe for me. Likely 7 to 14.9. And then lead is 2 to 6.9, and then tilt is anything under 2. So I have New Jersey going from 7 to 14.9%. I think the next Democrat will win New Jersey by 12%, 13%. And the reason I say that is because of how, like I said, it's an economy-based independent system up around here in these counties and stuff. So I don't know, Essex County, whatever. It's kind of hard to explain because I don't live in New Jersey and I don't know enough about New Jersey politics. But I have a feeling I'm going to learn a lot about them soon in the next coming years, because it's going to be something that, even though they probably definitely won't carry it in 2028, it's something I expect Vance or whoever to campaign in. Maryland, Massachusetts, DC, Rhode Island, Connecticut. And Vermont. I still expect all of those to be safe states, even New York, actually. I think Republican inroads in New York have been pretty interesting. You'll see in 2022, it actually has shifted to Democrats since 2022. If you look at the Senate win that outdid Harris won the presidency more than Hochul won her seat, and then the Senator Gillibrand, I think, who ran for president in 2020, she won her seat by more than Schumer won. Now, obviously, Gillibrand always does better than Schumer. I think Schumer, not a lot of people like him, to be honest. But I think that just shows that Democrats aren't really, I don't think Democrats are that screwed in New York for the next 10 years. Again, you're going to see areas with huge metro, areas make big shifts, like Philadelphia, changing Pennsylvania's kind of thing. Probably not Maryland. I wouldn't see that happening. But just up here in the Northeast, where you're going to see, these big compact areas, down here. And it's really hard to explain. I'm sorry, I kind of getting off topic here. I'm going to go to my next ones, though. Colorado barely shifted towards the Republican Party. Another one of those were only shifted by 2 or 3 points when most of the country did twice that. That's not bad for Democrats. For a state like Colorado, they should absolutely not have to worry about Colorado at all. Especially since still a lot of the counties shifted left. And it's also one of the only states that Democrats aren't losing huge momentum in. Now, I'm curious if we're going to see some kind of effect. After Biden won, we saw huge Republican register numbers happen, and a lot of Democrats switched to independent. Are we going to see the opposite effect? I don't know what we saw from 2016 to 2020 or 2008 to 2012. Something tells me that's something that just happens every time. So I can't really tell you that. Something I found interesting is Casey still won Bucks County, and there was more registered Republicans there. So there might have been better turnout in other swing states than I mentioned in Georgia. So we'll see about that too. Again, that was kind of random. I kind of went to that, but I kind of just thought about that. New Mexico, likely. Virginia, likely. The fact that Harris won here by 6 in a year like this, where Virginia just voted red in 2021 and then voted to and then flipped several House seats. I think 2 House seats in 2022, and then Harris still does just as good as the polls had her doing in Virginia. And then Tim. No way, I forgot his name. Tim Kaine. Sorry about that. Tim Kaine just won here by double digits as well. If you're a Democrat, don't be worried in Virginia. Again, Trump kind of reversed a lot of the progress that Democrats have been making to hope to keep their 270 chances in the future alive, like Texas. I think Texas kind of is almost impossible now to flip in 2028, and I was floating the idea. I really didn't expect Trump to do that much better. I expected his max to be 9 points, 8 points, kind of like his 2016 margins. I expected his best margin in every state to be around his 2016 margins. But obviously, you'll see Texas did not. I still think it's going to be back to lean. I think it's going to go back down to like 3 or 4 points. Again, we might see some of the biggest, like some of the most large possible shifts towards the Democrats in United States history if Trump's plans go in effect. And again, I don't think all of them will. I think there's going to be roads that block that, so it's not going to be as catastrophic for them, and that's why I don't have them getting blown out here. Hawaii, I have going to Democrats by a safe margin. Maine's 1st district as well. Any other safe Democrat areas? No. Safe for Republicans: North Dakota, South Dakota, Idaho, Arkansas, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, Indiana, Oklahoma, Missouri, Nebraska's 3rd district, Wyoming, Montana, and that's it. That's it for Republicans here. Obviously, they had red shifts in Montana, Missouri, and Mississippi, which you could have argued likely. But I think that those kind of shifts kind of show that those states are kind of solidly put in the red area, pretty much no matter what happens. And I don't be too optimistic if I'm you Democrats. Also, Iowa. I'm gonna move Iowa to safe. I think that's not like controversial. I hope still, because obviously there was that discussion about Iowa. I didn't believe the Iowa poll. I did think it might have meant that Harris was doing better with white women than I thought. She was not. She still did better than Biden, but still. Ohio, and also religious people as well, and then independents. You'd think Iowa, she would have done better if that poll was real. Ohio, I'm still going to keep it in the likely column. I just think it's just lacking a little bit in the trend of Iowa. Again, I kind of relate Iowa and Ohio in the same area. They've all gone by this. They've gone by the same margins, like 4 elections in a row. I mean, well, 2012 was kind of more blue for Iowa, but 2016, same margin for Iowa and Ohio. 2020, same margin for Iowa and Ohio. 2024, basically the same margin. I think it was like a point or two difference here, but still over double digits for each. If Iowa shifts to the right, then so will Ohio. But I just don't think Ohio will shift the same amount. I think Ohio would be like 14 and a half, maybe. It could be like 16 or 17. And Iowa would be around 17 or 18. That's why I was thinking that. Sorry if you hear my little brother. He's just upset, I guess. But he's with someone, so don't worry about that. Maine at large, likely. New Hampshire, likely. Minnesota, likely. Nebraska, 2nd, likely. None of that should be remotely controversial at all. Again, if you're a Republican here, you're probably pissed I don't have New Jersey going red, and I'm already gonna have to fight with people. And please don't fight about New Jersey. Obviously, we don't even know what the polls are gonna look like. Apparently, Biden's internals had him with less than 150 electoral votes. It actually had Trump with over 400 electoral votes. So I'm assuming he was losing New York, New Jersey, Virginia, Minnesota, New Mexico, Virginia, etc. I think I already said Virginia. And then probably, again, flipping all the other states he flipped, and then maybe like Oregon or Washington. So yeah, switching Biden out was absolutely the right decision. And therefore, the Democratic Party is not entirely destroyed. Because I feel like if Biden was still on the ticket, then Michigan and Wisconsin for the Senate would have flipped too. I mean, Democrats would have damn near less than 45 Senate seats probably. Now, the problem with the Senate is Republicans winning that Pennsylvania seat kind of makes 2026 almost impossible for them. Almost impossible. And then they have to go right back in 2028 to another difficult map for their other incumbents in the Rust Belt. The Senate's not really drawn in a scenario where Democrats can ever have a good lead in the Senate. Like, ever. That's just how the Senate system works. It's based on the amount of states there are, not the amount of support you have. The Senate, it might be worse than gerrymandering. It's actually less accurate than that. So I think in the future, you're going to have to see a lot of, like, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm trying to think of a scenario where Dems win the Senate in the next, 6 years, and it's almost impossible. Minnesota was Pennsylvania was their last hope. They kind of needed to carry. They needed to win Pennsylvania and keep Montana or Ohio, one of the two, or flip Texas. And obviously that didn't happen. At least Texas was still single digits. So I found that pretty interesting. So you're going to see in 2026, there's only a couple seats that Democrats can take a crack at, and that's North Carolina, Texas, and Alaska. Other than that, they have to go defense pretty much everywhere. They have to go defense in Minnesota. I meant Michigan. They also got to go defense in Minnesota. They also got to go defense in Georgia. They should go on offense in North Carolina. Yeah, they got to go on defense in probably New Jersey now. They got to go on defense in Virginia. Like, I don't think Republicans will flip any seats towards them in 2026, but that's not good for them. Democrats need to have those economic policies need to take track way before. And something that Democrats tried to do was run Osborne in Nebraska, the independent, and then run that one guy in Utah. So that was almost successful. Both of those were single-digit races in almost 20-point Republican states. If you're the DNC right now, you've got to think that running someone like an independent in Texas or Tennessee or like Missouri or Mississippi, that might be even more effective than like running that in Nebraska. Obviously, I feel like Tester probably would have won if he just changed his party affiliation to independent. I think it really just came down to party affiliation. It really sucks because I feel like he could have just done that. So I'm also curious about Kirsten Sinema, if she's going to do anything. She's probably done politics for her career. I mean, she really kind of put a gun to the head of to the DNC or to the Democrats and just straight up screwed them over. I mean, they like her and Joe Manchin really ruined a lot of progress Biden could have done in those first 2 years, and it made everything impossible. All right, South Carolina likely, Florida safe. Please don't disagree. Florida's not in play. I'm so fucking tired of saying this. Sorry for cussing. But still, I'm so tired of saying that Florida's not in play because I've been saying it since 2021. I even said that Trump would keep Florida in 2020, which a lot of people didn't have. When Biden heavy underperformed Clinton in Miami-Dade County after Clinton overperformed Obama in Miami-Dade County, that's when you were supposed to be able to tell that the Latino shift kind of ruins Dems here. It really hurt them in Arizona, Nevada, and Florida. If there was no Latino shift, if Dems can kind of reverse that, that's almost impossible. Once the shift starts, it's pretty much over. At least for like decades. I think Latinos will be heavy red in like 30 years, like maybe even like 20 or 10 maybe. They're about to be red next time, so if they go by 14 points again, I think Vance will carry Latinos. Although I don't know, I can't tell you he has that charm, and by charm I mean deporting their family members. I don't really know why that's something they support, but whatever. Nebraska and Nebraska's first district likely. Nebraska didn't really shift towards the Republicans by that much, and Nebraska's first shifted towards the Democrats. So, and obviously that was supposed to happen after the redraw. Like I said, that would happen exactly, and I think it stays likely. No big conversation there. Kansas and Utah, again, two of the only states that didn't really shift towards the Republicans at all. Maybe by, again, like a point or two. I don't count a 1 point shift in a R 6 point shift year. I count that as in there's a better chance that Dems bring these other states by like 7 or 8 next election. And I think that's exactly what you're going to see in Kansas and in Utah. Thankfully for Dems, for the governor maps in 2026, I think they might do very well. Because that's gonna be the same governor maps as 2022, right? So who knows? Maybe Paltola runs in Alaska for governor or Senate. Oh, that's why I should have mentioned Alaska earlier when I said that Dems needed to go North Carolina, Texas, or Alaska. There's really only one prominent Alaska Democrat, and that is Paltola, who might be on track to lose her race. It hasn't been called yet. It's one of the last races to be called, but there is that. So, and I think they might have to do another round of voting for ranked choice. So there's that. So you kind of get in this interesting scenario here for 2028 because Republicans, despite the fact that they destroyed the economy by this point, are still performing better in some states and worse in a couple of them, like Kansas and Utah. I think obviously I'm also going to do Maine second, likely. Like I said, I'm so annoyed that one guy who commented on my video, who was from Maine second district, told me that it was in play. But at least he was right about Golden winning, because I mean that was almost a loss. So I think everything gets pretty interesting from here on out. I think Alaska is going to be likely like 7 points, so still blue shift from 2020. I think if you look at the if you're going to look at the 2020 to 2028 map, I'm curious how much that shift is going to look like in in 4 years. I'm really curious, uh, but we'll see. All right, Alaska. No, we just did Alaska. Okay, what's kind of next for this? Okay, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, wow. There's a recount here going on in that Senate race. Like I said, McCormick did just win this seat unofficially. They still need to do that recount, I believe. His lead right now is about 25,000 votes. So I think if that, for some reason, goes to Casey, then there needs to be recounts across the entire country. If there's a 30,000 vote deficit that made up from a recount, there is a massive, huge problem that we have never seen in this country before. I have pretty good confidence McCormick wins, and if he doesn't, then something went wrong. So I am going to give Pennsylvania to Vance. Again, like I said, I don't really know about the nominees here because there's candidates that I like as a Democrat for 2028, and there is 2028 candidates for Republicans, and there's only like three of them in my opinion. That is Nikki Haley, depending how the Trump situation goes. Uh, JD Vance, which is the most likely option. I think they stick with that. And again, he doesn't. All right, I'm a Democrat. I think he's a moron, right? But he doesn't sound like a moron when he talks, and that's key to winning in politics. He has that. He has that, and that's important. I am going to give him the benefit of the doubt of not sounding like an absolute moron. And who knows? Maybe he'll kind of regress back to like he kind of used to be moderate. We'll see though, because he's kind of sold out entirely. So there's a couple other states here. Democrats, wow, be scared if they won Pennsylvania in 2028. There's a good chance you guys are going to lose. Look, I also have them getting Wisconsin. Wisconsin, now you're thinking, oh my God, how have they destroyed the entire economy and ruined education? And they're still sitting on top. It's the Electoral College. It's how it is. I think Wisconsin, despite the fact taking massive economic problems, I think Wisconsin is going to go to the Republicans. And there is a very good argument that it goes with Democrats. I just kind of need to see the 2026 shifts personally, because 2022, we obviously saw that kind of stay in line with Biden, and then 2022 to 2024, I'm not really sure what happened there. I think a lot of people were just tired of the Biden administration. That's kind of seems like what the people wanted to go back to the other administration they just voted out. Doesn't really make sense. Biden 2028, y'all. I'm up for that. Biden, and then I'll pick Carter as his vice president. Who knows? But yeah, Wisconsin, I'm gonna give a tilt for Republicans. Again, it's just such a white state, and within a state that has trends like that, and unions that are supposedly going to drive people out of the state once they're getting protections are being damaged. I think Wisconsin is going to kind of just stay on the track. I think Evers kind of should do all he can to reverse the Trump effect of whatever he does, but we don't know what Trump's going to do yet. Day one is going to be a pretty clear indicator. But it seems like he said, dictator on day one. It seems like he's trying to. They've probably drafted up a lot of executive orders. I know they already have a couple, but the ones that they're probably planning on doing are probably going to be borderline breaking the Constitution. And I think while it will probably stay in effect, I think there's going to be an issue with the people on that. So you kind of look at this map and they'd be like, okay, Dems kind of need to win every other state. I don't have Dems winning every other state. I have Republicans winning Nevada. Again, that Latino shift, like I said, was kind of the Latino shift, and then the men vote share going up from 2022. That was right about Nevada, and it's kind of weird. My predictions were kind of weird. You'd think if I had Georgia going blue like I did, I'd have Nevada going red, going blue, but I did not. And again, like I said, it just comes out to the share of men voting, and that turnout that I was expecting and seeing Democrats were not able to make it up. They lost here by like 3 points. And that would be the first time since 2004 that Republicans have won the popular vote, and the first time since 2004 that Democrats have lost Nevada. So, on the presidential election, obviously. So, big L for Dems in Nevada. I think that Hillary doing better with Latinos from 2012 to 2016 kind of just kept Nevada there, and then the general blue country shift from 2016 to 2020 kept Nevada there. I think that trend in Nevada was there all along, and we just did not see it. Uh, and now it's obviously a different story. Nevada was red for a very different reason 20 years ago, so now it's like a very different state. That voted for Trump has a red governor, but voted for two blue senators. I might be the only. It might be the only state that's done that. So I think that's well, Georgia's done that actually. Georgia's done that. So there's that. But next states. Good news for Democrats. I'm giving you Georgia. By lead amount, actually. A pretty comfortable 3 or 4 point win in Georgia. Again, like I said, Harris did so much better in those suburban areas. And she just, every single county here, she did better in than Biden. And I think whoever you're going to see running, okay. So I'm going to put in the comments a list of candidates that I would like to see run for president for the Democrats. Obviously, there's a couple, like I already told you, the red ones that I think could run. Those three. Oh, did I even mention the other one? I meant to say DeSantis before. I don't think DeSantis runs. I think he's got a safe governor seat, and he's got one of the most powerful. He's still one of the most powerful guys in the country. So I think I don't know if he's going to run after such a failed 2024 campaign, but we'll see. Georgia. One of my candidates for Georgia is Jon Ossoff. I really, really like this guy. He's extremely young. I think he has what it takes. And it's kind of that situation where, as a Democrat, I think that if Democrats can flip this governor seat from Brian Kemp in 2026, then Jon Ossoff should run for president. If he does run for president, then I'm thinking that means that governor flipped, and then they'll just appoint someone in Jon Ossoff's position. Sorry, I'm stuttering a lot. It's kind of a shaky area to talk about new candidates. I don't want to say anything to get people excited. I'm pretty excited and hope that Jon Ossoff will be running. And something I found was really bold of him is right after their loss, like a week ago or whatever day it is, like 8 days ago, 7 days ago. What is it? 9 days ago. Oh my God, it's been 9 days. All right. 9 days ago, after the loss, Jon Ossoff asked the head of the Georgia Democratic Party to resign. And I just thought that was pretty bold. And he stands on business in Georgia because I don't think that happened anywhere else. And even if it did, I don't know. It took some pretty cool guys. Maybe they'll put Stacey Abrams in charge of that, which obviously she's done very good at getting turnout. She did not have place a part in 2024 and 2022 though for Democrats. Democrats did that all by themselves. She got Georgia to the point where it's a swing state at this time, but I think flipping Georgia in 2020 is kind of like, let me think of a good example here. What's a state that's just once you win it, you're on top of it? I guess Colorado. I think Georgia is going to be pretty similar to Colorado. Obviously, it flipped back in 2024, but I think in general, you're going to see those shifts from those independents in the next 4 years shift so massively in Georgia that it's going to get to the point of no return, and Georgia is going to be solid fucking blue in 2032. 2032, I'm talking about an 8 or 9 point win in Georgia. I think Georgia's going to shift so massively to the Democrats, and it's going to be a Democratic stronghold because of those demographics that they have and they hold so strong in Georgia. And that, again, I think that's going to be very good for Democrats to that. Georgia is a makeup state for losing Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania in the future. However, something that's pretty interesting. I don't have them losing Michigan in 2028. I think that Harris, she lost Wisconsin and Michigan by less than 1 point each, and I think Michigan's the most obvious one that's going to stay blue governor wise. I don't think Republicans are going to make a single inroad here. I think they only have ground to lose at this point in Pennsylvania, and obviously I think it's going to eventually be a full kind of win up here. But I don't think that that Democrats will lose all three of these states in 2020. One of them is going to flip back to them, if not all three. But as of right now, I have them only winning one of them, and that's more than enough because I also have them winning North Carolina by a tilt amount. Again, it's really the economy right now for these independents, and if you saw in North Carolina, those suburban shifts again are pretty similar with Georgia and these other areas that kind of held down the fort for Democrats and didn't have them blow out lose in some of these areas. You're going to see North Carolina again, still underperformed or around the same as Trump's 2016 margin. North Carolina could very well be a several point win for Democrats in 2028. And you're going to see in 2026, if North Carolina flips in 2026 for the senator, I think Tom Tillis, I am going to be very confident in North Carolina flipping in 2028. That I have no doubt about that, at least right now. And then that gives whoever the presidency, again, hopefully, as of right now, in my opinion, I want Jon Ossoff to run for president. I am not opposed to Kamala Harris running for president again. I think she ran a great campaign. I think people are going to realize they made a big, huge mistake. I obviously don't want to run Hillary. I'm not that stupid as a Democrat. I think a lot of people are just going to come in and call me stupid. At least I'm not going to push for... If I was going to run a different woman other than Kamala Harris... Oddly enough, it's Amy Klobuchar. I really like her speaking, and I've watched her speeches before, and she's a great motivational speaker for turnout. I think she's done so good in her election. She's just like 10 points ahead of Harris in the Rust Belt. I mean, she's the definition of someone who's dedicated their entire life to just helping people. And she's also sponsors a lot. She's also passed a lot of bills in Congress since she's been in Congress. So I think that she's a great woman. I think she could definitely run and win. Personally, I don't know if women can win in presidential elections anymore. I think it takes a special scenario for that to happen. So we'll see. But if Democrats do choose to nominate a woman, either run it back with Harris. You can't do any worse than that. You really can't do any worse than Harris did. And then, or try Amy Klobuchar, who ran in 2024. I don't know enough about Kristen Gillibrand. Okay. This is the statement that's gonna get me killed here. I think AOC should run for president. Not in 2028. Not in 2028. I'm talking about like 2036, something like that. I think if the country if is more like divided in 2036 by ideology. Running a liberal isn't really that bad because those moderates have to pick an extreme either way. And obviously, I don't think AOC's extreme. I think she's incredibly moderate. She could be way worse, way more liberal. If you're a conservative, she's a normal Democrat who has an emphasis on the environment, and that hurts the feelings of old 70-year-old congressmen who just tell you that she's an extreme baby killing psycho, and she's really just a normal great woman. So obviously there's three women I think Democrats could run, and there is Jon Ossoff as well. So Jon Ossoff, Andy Bashir. I wouldn't run Tim Walz. I don't see Tim Walz as I would vote for him, but I just cannot imagine he would run for president. I don't know why. I just don't see it. I think he stays governor of Minnesota for like maybe 10-20 years. I don't know how, maybe like 12 years because he's pretty old. He's 60. So, but yeah, I think Tim Walz is not a great choice to run for the Democratic Party. He's a great speaker, and he could be another vice presidential pick. I just don't see him running the country. I don't see him as that guy that I trust as a country runner. I see him as that guy I trust as my grandpa. And he just kind of has that goofy ass vibe that I don't see in a president. And I'm sorry if people who wanted Walz to run. I'm sorry. I don't think he should. And I think he would. I still think he'd win. I just don't get a presidential vibe from him. I don't know why. There's a couple other candidates who could run. One is out of Arizona, which I should probably fill out. Mark Kelly. I have Arizona tilt going to Democrats. It'd be easier to say lean Dem, But the independents and the young voters shifted towards Republicans by so much. Trump won here by over 5 points. He did way better than his 2016 margin here. And that's kind of where it gets concerning for Dems because they thought they were making inroads in Arizona, which, again, picking up Arizona and Georgia make up for losing Wisconsin and Michigan. After the next census, winning North Carolina, flipping North Carolina makes up for losing Pennsylvania. So they kind of they kind of need to go with the Sun Belt strategy to replace the 3 states up here. But the cake on top would be flipping Texas in 2032, and that's kind of where it gets impossible for Republicans to win because they'd probably have to flip Minnesota and New Jersey. And I think, like I said, by 2032, you could be seeing Kansas, Utah, Alaska, or New Jersey flip. So a lot of those states could go. But yeah, so there's a couple candidates that I think, like I said, could run for president for Democrats. Again, I'll go down that rundown list one more time. Amy Klobuchar, Andy Beshear, John Ossoff, my personal favorite as of right now, Colin Allred. I did not get to see much of his campaign until the last couple months. That was when Democrats were on panic mode. I think he ran a very good campaign. He obviously ran a decent campaign. He ran way ahead of Kamala Harris. Can we start saying her name right now? I think that's she deserves that at least. Pretty fucking disrespectful and racist just to mock her name. I think that's pretty awful, and they were just able to run with that. That's fucked up. I can't even it. It didn't bother me until it got so close to the election that people, even Democrats, were calling her Kamala. I called her Kamala, and until September 2020. It took me less than 2 months to learn how to pronounce her name without any issues. It is not that hard, people. I know people make fun of names, but that's just straight up saying a complicated name and purposely saying it incorrect when it's pronounced very simply is just fucking, it's racist. I mean, it's just what it is. Unless you're calling her Kamila, commie, then you're just stupid, but at least you're not racist. So I thought it was kind of funny, but obviously, I don't know. But yeah, there's a lot of candidates I think that could run. Like I said, I'm getting pretty. I'm pretty pumped up to talk about politics for the next couple of years. Obviously, by the next presidential election, I hope to have my political science major degree finished. So that's going to be pretty fun, and that's why I've been having trouble getting these videos out, because I'm really busy. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe. That'd be really great for me. I know we talked a lot, and I ranted a lot, but I really liked making this video. I haven't felt this good in a while, so have a good day.